Hey guys, Brad here. Really happy that you could join me today. We are going to be talking about a subject that I am really excited to make a video on, and this month's exercise reset has allowed me to do it. I want to talk about strength training 101, how you can do it, how you can start, what exercises to choose, all those questions so that you can get going if you just don't know what to do with the weights. So let's get after it. So, where do we start? Well, what exercises should we do is the first question you're probably asking. The answer to that is pretty simple. Start big. We want to do big compound movements. Now, I know you guys have heard me talk about this a bunch, but I'm going to talk about it again. Things like the squat, the deadlift, the bench press, overhead press, bent over rows. Exercises that involve a lot of different muscle groups are where you want to start. The reason we want to choose these exercises is because they're going to be super efficient. They're going to train a lot of muscle groups at one time. We're going to burn more calories doing these bigger movements than we will with smaller ones, and it's much more efficient for us to use these exercises in the gym rather than smaller single muscle group exercises. So now that we have our exercises chosen, how often do we do them? How many do we do? That's probably the next question you're asking. Well, the answer to that one is also pretty simple. We want to do reps and sets for an exercise that meet our goals. So lower amounts of reps, kind of in the 1 to 5 area, those are training our strength goals. Once we get above that, until we get to about 12 reps in a set, we're really working on the quality of our muscle, we're working on the size of our muscle, and we're working on the amount of muscle that we're creating. Much higher than 15 reps, we're really working on our muscular endurance, how long our muscles are able to fire for, how long they're able to move weight for. So we want to choose a rep range that specifically meets our goal the closest. So now that we know how many reps to do, how many sets should we do? Well, the answer to that is my recommendation is to stay between kind of 25 and 40 total reps of your exercise. If you're doing heavier weight and thus your sets have lower amounts of reps in them, they're going to stay closer to that 25 mark. If you're doing more medium or light weights, you're going for higher rep sets. Maybe you're training for a bike ride or something like that, and you want to train that muscular endurance, then you're going to be at the higher end of that. So if we're training for strength, something like 5 reps for 5 sets is kind of where we want to stay. If we're training more in the 15 to 20 rep range, then maybe you only want to do 2 or 3 sets. It's up to you. Okay, so the next thing we need to talk about is progression. You've chosen what exercises you're doing. You've chosen how much you're doing of those exercises in each workout. The question is, where do we begin and where do we end once we're finished progressing? So my first tip here is starting light. Start light, start slow. Don't put too much weight in your hands when you're first getting going. It's important to learn these moves, especially if you've correctly chosen the heavier moves, the deadlifts, the squats, the bench presses. There's an element of athleticism in learning those certain exercises, and you want to learn to move that weight efficiently with less weight before you start trying to really stack weight on the bar or put heavier dumbbells in your hand. Once you have the light weight that you're going to start with, what I would recommend doing is taking that weight. Let's say I have chosen to do a squat for 5 sets of 5 reps, and I've put 100 pounds on the bar. I'm going to work through that 5 set, 5 rep workout until I'm able to hit all 25 of the reps that I'm going for. If I can hit all of them, then in my next workout, I'm going to add a little bit of weight to the bar. Now, if I get all of my goal reps in that workout, I'm going to add a little bit of weight again to the bar in the next one. Eventually, you will hit a point where you're not able to hit all of the reps that you're trying to hit for that workout. Once that happens, stop adding weight, keep it where it's at, and then eventually you'll get strong enough to where you've gotten all of the reps that you were trying to hit for that workout, and you can add weight for the next one. Once you're able to hit the reps and sets goal that you've set for yourself for a particular workout, You may be asking, well, how much weight do I add onto the bar, or how much weight do I add onto the dumbbells so that I can progress? My typical rule of thumb here is 5 pounds for every upper body exercise and 10 pounds for every lower body exercise. So let's take that 100-pound squat. I was able to hit all of the reps for all of the sets that I was shooting for. How much do I add in my next workout? Well, I'm only going to add 10 pounds. So my next workout is going to be those 5 sets of 5 reps for 110 pounds. If that original 100-pound 5-set 5-rep scheme was very easy, I'm still only adding 10 pounds. Remember, there's always more time to progress and get stronger. Don't jump too much at one time and risk setting yourself backward. So our recovery is the biggest factor in getting stronger. A lot of people know this, but they don't do a very good job of putting it into practice. When we're lifting weights, we're not getting stronger. We're doing the opposite. We're tearing our muscles down. It's the recovery afterwards that helps us add strength, add more muscle mass, and do all of those things that make us a better lifter. The most important parts of recovery: sleeping, eating. Make sure that you're eating enough. Make sure that you're eating clean so that we're not adding a lot of fat weight, and make sure that we're getting enough rest and we're in bed enough to let our muscles recover. Putting this into practice into our strength training routine means setting up our lifts with good timing. You should be looking to strength train as a novice strength trainer 2 or 3 times a week, making sure that you don't do any one specific exercise more than twice. I would not go out and try to deadlift 3 days a week as a brand new lifter. Now, as you get stronger, your recovery needs will get bigger, and you'll have to think about spacing your exercise placement out a little bit more. Maybe training the deadlift only once a week. So let's say you've gotten stuck, you've plateaued, you're not getting any stronger, the weights are not going up. It's happened to us all. What do we do? Well, I've got some tips for you there. Number 1 would be varying the sets and rep scheme that you're using. So if you're somebody who's been consistently training in the 10 reps for 3 set scheme, it may be time to change it up and go a little bit heavier and do more sets with fewer reps. Some of the reasoning behind this is that, look, we need more muscle mass to build more strength. Now, we also need more strength to build more muscle mass. So if we only train in one set rep scheme the entire time that we're training, eventually you're going to hit a ceiling. You need to vary it up a little bit and do some different things. Another thing you may want to try is adding more volume. If you've been consistently doing, say, 2 sets of 10 reps of your bench press and it just isn't going anywhere, it may be time to add another set and do 3 sets of 10 reps. You have to have enough volume to stimulate growth. If you're not doing enough of it, it may be time to examine doing a little bit more. So let's say your volume is on point, you're doing a good job of varying your sets and rep schemes throughout your workout, and you're still kind of stuck, it's just not going anywhere. Maybe a good time to do what we call deloading. So essentially take a week, take the amount of weight that you're lifting on everything, cut it in half by 50%, and just take kind of a week of relearning the move, stretching out, getting some active recovery, and then hitting it again at full strength in the next week. A lot of times that little bit of a reset can help your body recover and help it grow again. So we've gotten to the part of the video where we're going to ask the final question of what program should I run? Well, you can certainly use the information that we've covered in this video so far to design your own, but generally my recommendation is to follow an already established strength training program, one that we know works and that a lot of other people have had success with. Some of the benefits to running a well-known and popular strength training program are the fact that lots of other people have already done it, so you know if it works. If you have questions or you get stuck, you're not really sure what modifications to make to anything, and you don't have access to a strength coach on call, a quick internet search can usually help provide the answers that you need if you're running a program that lots of other people have already run. If you're a novice, running an established program really helps because it takes out a lot of the thinking and a lot of the guesswork that you would otherwise need to do. That's why I recommend always running a program. Now for a novice, the program that I recommend is the same always for everybody. It's the Starting Strength 5x5 program. This is probably the most popular program that is run by novice lifters. The reason I recommend it is it's a very linear progression, so it's very easy to understand. If you're hitting all the sets and reps that you should be hitting, you just add weight. It's also so popular that you can find lots of template documents on how to run it online. So you simply download the Excel file, pop in the weight that you're using, and it will calculate the entire program for you. All you got to do is open up the document when you get into the weight room and do exactly what it tells you to do, and then you're done. And the workouts themselves involved in the starting strength program are usually pretty quick. You can be done with a strength training exercise routine in about 25 to 35 minutes max. If you're going any longer than that, it's a you problem. So what makes a novice lifting program a novice lifting program? Well, when you're new to weightlifting, you're going to see your strength jump up exponentially pretty quickly. A novice strength training program takes advantage of that, and it has you increasing the weight much more frequently than you would than in a program for a more experienced lifter. Now, eventually, you're going to outgrow your novice or beginner weightlifting program. The reason for that is you can't constantly add weight to every lift of every workout. It just doesn't happen. Eventually, those quick gains will run out, and you'll have to switch to a program that, instead of asking you to add strength week by week, maybe it's asking you to add strength month by month, even more so sometimes as you become even stronger. Now, some good intermediate programs that I recommend. Two, if you're just starting your intermediate program, would be either the Mad Cow 5x5 exercise routine or the Texas method. These two weightlifting programs are pretty aggressive intermediate programs. They'll have you adding weight every couple of weeks, and it's a good program to run if you're just coming out of the novice lifting programs. Once you are no longer able to add weight to your lifts on those programs, something like a 5-3-1 program is very easy to run. It allows for a lot of recovery. The progress is very slow, but it's very manageable, and there are lots of different variations of that program to run so that you can tailor it to your needs. Now, one thing to note about the intermediate lifting level is that most people will never ever leave it, and that's completely fine. A lot of these intermediate programs have it built in so that once you get to a point where you're no longer making progress on it, it has you reset, drop the weight, and restart the program again. And that's completely fine. Most people never get to the advanced level simply because getting to an advanced level is going to require a lot of volume, and it's just not something that most people are going to want to do. Now, because you're going to be at the intermediate lifting level for so long, now is kind of where a lot of people want to program jump. They want to do maybe 5-3-1 for a little bit, and then they want to go back to Mad Cow for a little bit, and then they want to switch to something else that they read online, and that's completely fine. You're going to be at the intermediate level probably for the rest of your life, unless you're kind of the top 5 or 10% lifters who are somehow watching this video. That's completely okay. My one recommendation when you decide to change programs is make sure that the program you're currently on, you have run it to its completion. All of these programs will give you a kind of an idea of how long a typical cycle is. So let's say, for example, 5-3-1 is a 4-week cycle. Do not jump your program in the middle of a cycle of your current program. Make sure you give it its time to do its total fully run its course, and then you can decide to get on to something else. Okay, so let's go into advanced programming. Psych, we're not getting into advanced programming. If you have made it to this far in the video and you want to look into advanced programming, there are other videos out there. I would also really recommend getting a personal strength coach if you want to do these. There are programs out there. There's various Russian powerlifting routines that you can do, but most of them are not meant for normal people, and I don't recommend running them unless you're getting into a powerlifting routine or really trying to take the sport as far as it will go. So there you have it, a very quick look into strength training and how to program and how to hopefully get started. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at virtualwellness@trihealth.com. We are happy to answer any of those for you. But in the meantime, I have been Brad, and I appreciate you guys spending some time with me. Thanks.